Hey everyone, today how you doing? It's Mr. Outlaw once again here to talk about smokeless image products. Today we're going to specifically talk about how to make your own drip atomizer or drip tester for new juices. As I've talked to you before about cartomizers, when you get a cartomizer, the last thing you want to do is put a juice in there that you have never tasted before. Sometimes we buy juices, we don't really like the flavor, it ends up sitting on our shelf, or some of us give them away to other people to let them try because they may like it better than we do. But again, when you have a cartomizer, if you put a juice in there, that flavor is going to get retained inside of the polyfill. For those of you who don't know, this is actually what is inside of that cartomizer, just a piece of polyfill, and this acts like a sponge. It soaks up the juice, but it also soaks up the flavor. It does mute the flavor a little bit, and that's why some people would prefer to use clearomizers or wick systems and things like that. Um, but you can't really mix juices. There are some juices that you might be able to have in there and then switch to another flavor without noticing much if they're a similar flavor, if the first one wasn't a very strong flavor. For example, if you have a watermelon, um, and you decide, you know what, I really don't want to refill a watermelon, but I don't want to waste another cartomizer, and I have a grape, you can do it that way. Put a grape in there. They're similar flavors. If they do blend for that first fill, you're not going to notice too much of a difference in taste, or it may be a taste you like half grape, half watermelon. I actually did it once with a cherry. I had a cherry cartomizer. Really wasn't a big fan of the smokeless image cherry. So I filled it up with chocolate. The first time I vaped it, it was like a chocolate cherry. And then the second time I filled it up, it was just completely chocolate because the chocolate is a more dominant flavor of the cherry. You would never be able to go in the opposite direction though. You would never be able to take, for example, a coffee filled cartomizer and put a fruit flavor in there. You're always going to taste that coffee. So the last thing again you want to do is to fill up your cartomizer with a juice that you've never tasted. The way people would go ahead and taste it without wasting a cartomizer is either to use a product like a Phoenix cartomizer or use the X2 clearomizers where it's only got a wick and you can clean it. Or what people do, and most people do, is use what's called a drip atomizer or just an atomizer. Well, for somebody like me who I'm never going to drip vape. Some people will actually have an atomizer, and that's how they want to vape. They want to take this little atomizer, drip 2 or 3 drips onto it, vape it, and then just keep doing that all night long. The reason they do that is because it gives the best flavor. It gives the purest flavor. There's nothing in between it. There's no wicks. Um, there's no filler. You're strictly going to get the taste of that juice. To me, it's a little bit of a pain in the neck. The last thing I want to do is sit there and every 3 drips, vape and then vape for 5 minutes and then have to do it again. So that's why I use mostly wick systems like the smokeless image clearomizers and the Phoenixes. Um, but again, with the cartomizer, we can actually make our own. I'm not going to go out and spend $9 on a drip atomizer that I'm only going to use to drip test my juices. So what we can do is make our own. And here we have a smokeless image. This is an old RY4 cartomizer. And this is a very simple thing to do. Now, if you have a pair of tweezers, you can use tweezers to do this. It's a little bit easier. I actually have tweezers, and one of the kids stole it off my desk, and now I have no idea what happened to him. So I'm going to use a safety pin, okay? And all you want to do is take off your end cap. Pretty easy. Now, if you look inside of there, you got your polyfill, okay? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle, or if you have a pair of tweezers again, and very slowly and carefully pull that polyfill up. Okay? Kind of working around the edges. And I apologize, I am not the greatest at making these videos, so there's no way I can really do it on camera to let you see. But you can see I've slowly pulled it up. Once I get it to where my fingers can grab it, I'm going to just pull it out. Okay, and you can see there was actually a decent amount of juice on this. RY4 for me, it's a good flavor. I'm not a huge tobacco vapor, but I actually like the RY4 from Smokeless Image, but I have like 10 cartomizers filled with it. So This one actually, it started vaping a little dry, and you can see now, and that's the thing, is there is still some juice in there. Okay? And you know, when you have a cartomizer, you're going to vape it. If you vape it much past this, that's when you're going to start burning. Okay? This is actually an old one. Okay? And you can see I actually vaped this one. That's about all the burning. I vaped this one completely dry, and if you can look down there on the end, there's a little tiny burn spot on the bottom. It's one of the things I like about these smokeless images is they tend to not burn as opposed to some of the other companies. Okay, now, if you look, and I know it's going to be very hard to see on the camera while we have this off, and I'm actually thinking about making a video one day cutting one of these apart so you can see the difference. But all the way down there on the end, if you can look down there where the needle is, all the way down there on the bottom, that's where the coil is on these cartomizers for smokeless image. Okay, it's called the horizontal bottom cartomizer because the coil is all the way down here on the bottom horizontally. Okay. Hey guys, sorry about splicing this into there. I wanted to stop the video for a second so I can find a flashlight. But basically, I wanted to find a flashlight and show you the inside of a different company's cartomizers that let you see the difference between the smokeless image cartomizers and the other ones and what makes them so much better and not burn. Okay, and I'm going to attempt to do this. Hopefully it'll show up well. Okay, but if you look inside of this cartomizer, and this is again a Vapor for Life cartomizer, okay, but if you look inside of there, you're going to see a coil, okay. If you look along that little white tube in the center, there's a little black like wire that comes all the way up to the top of it. And it's probably about the best I'm going to do without taking this thing apart, which I'm planning on doing one day. But that's the coil, okay. That coil runs down the length of this filler. Okay, kind of like if this is the toothpick, this toothpick was your coil, it runs along the edge of the filler. So if any part of this gets dry, so if you think about it sitting in your cartomizer like this, if this part dries first, the coil will burn it. So you need to always keep this thing completely soaking wet so that you don't burn your cartomizer. With the smokeless image ones, since the coil is only on the bottom, if this is the way it's sitting inside of your cartomizer, you only have to worry about this part drying out. So because as the juice comes down, this stays wet, we don't burn them as easily. So you really have to vape it completely dry to make it burn. So that's the difference, and that's what makes the cartomizers from Smokeless Image so much better than some of the other companies out there. So that's just a little bonus for you. So let's get back to our drip now. Okay, so now we've taken out our filler. Like I said, it's the coil all the way on the bottom. Now, one thing that's very important, you only want to drip test on a manual battery, okay? Even though the Smokeless Image automatic batteries are completely sealed, they're not completely sealed. They have a little tiny hole, and you can get juice into them. And if you get juice into them, you're going to fry your battery. So make sure if you're going to do any kind of drip testing, you're doing it on a manual battery. So you can either use your 78 millimeter battery, or you can use your X2 battery. Okay, I'm going to use my X2 battery, and basically all you're going to do is screw your cartomizer onto the battery. Okay, now when I press the button, oh, this is actually battery's dead. Oh wait, brand new battery just came in the mail today, and I forgot to turn off the 5-click. Since it happened, just let you know, if you buy an X2, they've got a nice feature, because if you want to put this in your pocket, you don't want to accidentally hit the button. They have what's called a 5-click feature, which means if you press it 5 times, now it won't turn. If you hit the button, it won't turn on. Okay? It's a nice feature. It's just a safety feature, so you can put it in your pocket, put it in your purse, wherever you put it, and you don't have to worry about activating it by accident. To turn it off, now it works. So, little extra bonus there. So anyway, I've got it on there, and now if you can hear it, it's vaporizing. Okay, so here's how we're going to drip test. I'm going to take a brand new juice, came in the mail a couple days ago. It's called Grape Vape from Vape Dudes. What you're going to do is just drip 2 or 3 drops down the side of the tube. Okay, and again, Just like when you're filling your cartomizer, you don't want to get it down the middle. Then just put your drip tip on there. That's not bad. Again, I've never actually had this flavor before, so again, you're just gonna, again, you're only putting a couple drips down. You know, this way you can taste the flavor. I'll put in a couple more drops. And you don't want to overdo it. If you overdo it, you're going to flood your battery, okay, because it will come out the bottom. Put my drip tip back on. That's got a good grape flavor. It's really good. I've never had one before. I've never had that before. I actually have always used the classic grape from Smokeless Image, so that's a really good flavor. I think I might actually buy this. But again, say if I didn't like it, I didn't waste a cartomizer on it. So yeah, I like that. So anyway, that is how you build your own drip tube. Now I can put this away. I'll just keep it in a drawer. If you want to clean it, just take it, rinse it out. You can boil it if you want. You don't have to, but I'll just take it and I'll run a little bit of water through it, kind of slush it around in there and let it dry, and I can use it to test different flavors. And now as I get a new juice or as I make a new juice, I can test them out on this and be good to go. If I like the flavor, I can fill up my Clearomizer, fill up my Cartomizer, and I know I'm going to like it. So, guys, that's my video for today. If you like the video, do me a favor and press the like button down there on the bottom. Leave a comment. Message me over in ECF. If there's a specific video that you want to see, if you want to see me demonstrate a product from Smokeless Image or learn how to do something, send me a message, put a comment down on the thing. If I see it, or when I see it, I will look into making a video for that. So everybody have a great day and happy vaping.